Um, so we are in Parshat Terumah. We just read, and we see all this instructions of how to build this Mishkan. And right in the beginning, of the parsha, it talks. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So right in the beginning, it talks about the reason, or it tells God tells Moshe what he wants. He says, "Make me a sanctuary, and I will dwell within them." And it's unique in the way it phrases it. It doesn't say within it; it says within them, right? And some translations say it, among them, or that kind of thing. But it's more unique, It's more not unique. It's more specific, and it wasn't an accident, right? Hashem um, wanted to dwell within them, within us. So, the great Rabbi Moshe al-Shich commented on this. This is in the 16th century. He's a 16th century rabbi, and he said the Torah does not say, "I will dwell in it." It says, "I will dwell among them," or within them, to teach us that the divine presence doesn't want to rest just in the building, but he wants to rest in the builders. He wants to be in the people, right? Be part of the people. And so this is, in a sense, like idea that we have, that our body is like a temple as well, right? And we hear from our Rabbi Yeshua teaching this even earlier, and I'm sure there's lots of other rabbis that have taught this. But here we have some quotes from Rabbi Yeshua in John 2, verse 19 through 21. He says, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I'll raise it up." And then the text clarifies, and he says, "But he was speaking about the temple of his body, and not about the temple, the big temple," right? And so he's connecting this idea that our bodies are temples for Hashem, right? That Hashem wants to dwell within us, and be able to be part of us, essentially. And then another thing that Yeshua was speaking about was the light. And the way, well, before I get to that, let's talk about we have the Mishkan that was built out in the desert, right? And then we had later on the temple. We read some things about them, fixing the temple. But within the temple, what's different than the Mishkan is in the Mishkan we had like the menorah in there shining light, but I didn't think there was any windows. There might have been some ways that the light escaped out of the Mishkan, but there was not any really windows, right? But in the temple, the builders built windows in the temple, but they built them in a way so that it would actually let the light out more than it would let the light in, essentially. And so, thinking of that idea, we have Yeshua talking about us being lights. And he said, people do not light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. And then also, I think the builders at the temple also had this idea of letting the light in the temple out and shining. So then Yeshua says, in the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So in that sense, he's kind of connecting us with the temple, like we're little mini temples, and just like the menorah would shine in the big temple. He wants our light to shine, our good deeds, our compassion, our love to shine, coming from Hashem, right? Coming from Hashem, because Hashem is dwelling within us. And an interesting thing is and we'll go back to the Mishkan again. The Mishkan was a temporary thing. It would be taken down and moved and then put back up. and it would follow around wherever the people were going. It would be there, and then God's Shekinah would rest in it again. And so, in another way that we are like the Mishkan is that we are also wherever we are going, Hashem is there, and Hashem will be dwelling within us wherever we go. So that's another connection we have with the tabernacle. And I've heard other ideas, I guess, just like ideas of how the tabernacle, kind of like the human body and stuff. I don't know all the details about it, but I've heard things about that. There's like kind of similarities and things, so that's kind of like another connection. So so what does this mean? What can we do? What's a practical thing that we can do, to allow us to, I guess, be temples, God's to have Hashem dwelling within us. What can we do? There's quite a few things we can do. We could do physical things, right? Physical things we can do is keep our body healthy, eat healthy food, get exercise, get sunshine. Keep just physically we can keep our bodies as healthy as we can, right? So that's one practical thing that we can do that will help Hashem to dwell within us. But then also I think we have to keep our minds even more so connected to Hashem, right? So we have to dwell on good things. We have to, you study Torah and study the Tanakh, study even Yeshua's teachings, and any other good teachings. There's a lot of good teachings out there. They're not even maybe even religious, but they're still a blessing, a good thing, I think one saying is as we can learn from anybody, almost anybody. So fill your mind with good thoughts and good ideas and wisdom and love and things like that, right? So that we will be open and to receiving Hashem's presence there into our life. And and so that's like the kind of the basic things we can do. But there's one more aspect to it. So after we let Hashem come into our life, or is working in our lives and inspiring us, teaching us, and we're learning. We don't just keep it to ourselves. We don't just learn it and then only apply it to our own little personal self. But we want to let it share, right? And what are the things that we can do to share this good blessing that we're getting? We could do very simple things around us to let this grow and to become better, right? Some examples of simple things we could do is we can speak encouraging words to one another, right? It doesn't take much effort to do these kind of things. So we be encouraging to one another and speak words of wisdom. We speak words of love to one another. Sometimes love may come in different form. It might be something that you might not want to hear, right? But when you love somebody, you're going to share stuff that may not sound good to you, but it's for your good, So, also you might have to share things that people might not want to hear, but at the same time, you're still sharing them, your love, right? Another thing is, doing acts of kindness for people, any kind of little act of kindness, bringing people water or whatever you can think about. There's many things that we can do. So, not only that we're inviting Hashem to dwell among us, but we also want to share that spark, that love, that good things that Hashem is dwelling within us, to share with those around us. So don't be stingy with Hashem living inside of you, right? So those are I guess that's the message that we can learn what Hashem told Moshe, that's the message that we can learn, and to take it, and not to think that just Hashem wants to dwell in a building or in a tent, but He also wants to dwell within each one of us, and by dwelling within each one of us, He wants us to share what He's all about with those around us. So that's my drash today, and so Shabbat Shalom.